On February 19, 2026, one company made single announcement, and within a single day, billions of dollars were wiped away from the cybersecurity sector. CrowdStrike fell 8%, Okta fell 9%, JFrog 25%. No scandals, no cyber attacks, and no earning misses. But even though within a single day, billions of dollars wiped off from the market. So today I'm going to break down what Claude or Anthropic Claude Security, they launched it, what is the impact and how and why the market reacted the way it has reacted, and of course the impact on the future of cybersecurity and cybersecurity professional. So let's get into it. To understand why this matter, you first need to understand the problem that's been quietly destroying security teams for many years. So picture this. You're a security engineer at a mid-sized company. Your team is only three people. Your code base has millions of lines of code and your vulnerability backlogs. So it never gets smaller. It only ever grows. So you might have 500 vulnerabilities. 3 months later, you might have 1500. And it will become very difficult to prioritize which one to fix those, which one to remediate those. So the tool you have is basically a static analysis tool, a SAST tool, very common into those practices. They are good, but they work by the pattern matching, means they would only know the existing and known vulnerabilities. And this has been documented before. So what if there is a new vulnerability, right? What if there's something new in the world of AI, which has not have found before? So that's the problem, and that's the most dangerous bugs are not the obvious one. They are the subtle ones, the one that only becomes a vulnerability based on how data flows through your entire system, the one that depends on how component A talks to component B, three layer deep down into software. And one of the example I can give you, I've seen if there could be a low priority vulnerability, you might ignore, but who knows that can be the worst, which can be exploited when the time comes in. If there's a bug in your software from point A to point B and all those connecting dot between the infrastructure and services front and back end. So the scanner would not be able to catch those. Absolutely not, right? So this is the problem. So being a human, you would go and investigate it, but that's a very lengthy process. And you need more resources, more people, you need more time. The context and the expertise are required for that. But most teams do not have that luxury, especially mid-sized environment. Maybe the large enterprise, they have more resources. But again, it's you always have to chase that. So this is a reality for security teams everywhere. Undrafted, overwhelmed, and always one miss vulnerability away from a breach. So this is the official Anthropic announcement page. Let's walk through it, exactly what they are claiming, because this is what spooked the market. Yeah, which I've shown before, I'll show you again. So Cloud Code Security launched on February 19, 2026, currently in limited edition preview for the enterprise and the team user. Now, here is the key line, and I want you to really pay attention to this. They are not just building another scanner. They are building something that works the way a skilled security researcher works, by understanding the full context of your database or code base in this example. It traces data flows. It maps how your component interact. It understands your system holistically, not just line by line. What do I mean by that? It understands the end-to-end deployment of that, from writing the code, connecting back to the system, front end, back end, all end-to-end implementation. So it's not looking at just a code, it's going above and beyond. And in the research preview alone, they found 500 vulnerabilities. Yes, they already found 500 vulnerabilities, bugs that had not that been discovered, or they had been sitting undetected, and in some cases for years. And I can tell you, I've seen it firsthand myself in many of those deployments, which is absolutely true. And I've seen SaaS tool not detecting those. This is also one of the things I've seen. So now this is important, right? Nothing gets auto patched. in this at the same time, because you don't want to do auto patch everything because it can bring your system down, especially the production one. So human reviews everything, and developer makes the final call on every single fix. And this is available in this product itself. They are not going to tell, okay, we have found 500 vulnerabilities, they are critical and high, and we're going to fix it automatically. No, no, this is not happening. It will just generate a report like any vulnerability scanner. This is what I'm seeing on their website, and they're not going to fix it. They will just prioritize and rate it. And then as a human, as a developer, you have to go, or whoever on your security team will have to go and approve it. So this is not an autonomous AI running loose in your code base. Okay, so you don't have to worry. It's a tool that surfaces what needs attention. But the scale at which it can do that, that's what changes everything. Yeah, this is beauty. So instead of you looking at two or three in a day, yeah, it can do a pretty good job and make you 10, 20x productive. And that's the beauty where we talk about AI will make you more productive. This is one of the use cases for cybersecurity professionals. And oh, for the open source maintainers, they can apply for free expedited access. So if you're someone who are part of open source community writing open source code, you want to get access to it, you can just apply for expedited access. That alone tells you that, in my opinion, Anthropic is serious about being a good defender tool and not an enterprise product. And we have seen so many products evolving when they are in a open source community. So again, it's a edge to the defender on the blue team side of the cybersecurity that Anthropic is seriously looking into that. And I really like it because the community as a whole will participate and contribute in that. So here is the chart for some of those security vendors where they completely crashed. I would say not completely, but some of them 8%, some of them 9%. Look at what happened in the market, because this is where it tells the story, which really gets interesting, that these security companies, their stocks were down somewhere, up to 9%. And if you look at the chart, they look all in red. So a company worth billions of dollars, built entirely around identity security, went down more than 9%. So that's interesting to see. CrowdStrike, which is one of the biggest name in cybersecurity, they were down like 8%, gone in a day, still further going down. If you can see, all are red. They are selling the stocks basically. So there are a biggest concern there, that tool like this in AI is really hurting those. Cloudflare is one of the examples. They were down 8%. They were up for 20% or more a few weeks ago because of OpenClaw solution, but now they're also down more than 8%. And this is interesting to see. Zscaler is one of them, they're down. And the most interesting one, yes, JFrog, more than 25% in one day. This is unbelievable. This is disaster. There's something where went down more than 25%. So is this panic justified? It's complicated, right? On one hand, the market is reacting to a very real threat. If an AI tool can do the deep vulnerability analysis and research that previously required experienced analysts, engineers, that changes the economy of the entire industry. And this is serious. So, on the other hand, some analysts are just pushing it back. One piece I read this called "It's Not a Killer App," arguing that Cloud Code security is just a research review, not a finished product, and the market is overreacted. So my take is that this panic itself is a signal. When an AI announcement moves market like this, that's not a noise. That's the industry telling you something has fundamentally shifted. So, who actually benefit from this right now? The three things come to my mind. One is the enterprise. If you're a large enterprise and if you have a security team, it is one of the best way, in my opinion, because you have a smaller security team and a smaller security team of the developers. that tool like this can go above and beyond the way the documentation says when it comes to security scanning. Second is open source maintainers or open source community. Because if you go to GitHub and all those online repository, you can find a ton of code available, but there is no one basically can just go and do this. Is not practical, and there are tons of code available which has a lot of vulnerabilities. So think about what it means to them when they are widely used, because attack surface has gone up with those publicly available. So this will eventually gonna help. And what are the libraries and code base there which can leverage, and this is going to be free available for the open source community, which is very surprising when I was reading that this tool is going to be free for them. Third, I think, is the security research and SOC analyst, whose job is just to look for vulnerabilities, not the uh, vulnerabilities, but vulnerabilities within the code and libraries which are buried and for years and years. So there are people who does this job. So if you are one of those, it can be a very powerful tool for you to look into those vulnerabilities, which are traditional scanning tools, which I don't want to name any vendor, but pretty much they are all the same, are not capable of doing that because they look at the same pattern. So, and honestly, from here, what we can say that developers who care about shipping the secure code is worth paying attention to it, and also for the cybersecurity practitioner, researcher, and analyst, that to me looks pretty good use case. So here's the question everyone is dancing around, but nobody wants to say it directly: is AI going to replace security engineers? And my honest answer is it's not going to replace, but definitely it's going to reshape. The engineers who get replaced will be the ones doing purely manual work, repetitive vulnerability scanning task, the work that frankly nobody enjoys anyways, because that's what I've seen firsthand. If you are that person who is doing the repetitive task, yeah, you are the risk of. So you better be using AI. So look, this is still very early in the phase. We don't know yet how it's going to perform at a scale. And there can be a lot of false positive, how it's going to work and distinguish between the critical high vulnerabilities versus the low vulnerabilities. It can create a lot of noise. So we don't know yet. But one thing I'm very pretty sure is that direction is clear, because it's eventually going to help the software industry with the delivery of secure code. So if you think it's going to be as a threat to you, then you may leave behind. But if you think this is an opportunity and you want to leverage the capability, well, this is then is an opportunity. So here is something what I need to know from you in the comments. If a tool like this really excites you, like Claude Code Security, does it really excites you, or are you really nervous about this thing evolving in this cybersecurity space? So again, as I said, let me know in the comments, and I read every comment. So let's talk about it. And if you think it is useful, please subscribe and share, and I will see you in my next video. Thank you.